Good morning, my dear students. In today's class, I would like to discuss the poem Ode to the West Wind by P.B. Shilli. I'll be discussing the first canto from this poem. Before we move on to this topic, I would like to tell you something about P.B. Shilli. P.B. Shilli was born on 4th August 1792 and died on 8th July 1822. He was one of the major English Romantic poets. Among his best-known works are Ozymandias 1818, To a Skylark 1820, and the political ballad The Mask of Anarchy 1819. His other major works include the verse drama The Cenci 1819 and long poems such as Alastor or The Spirit of Solitude 1815, Julian and Metello 1819, Adonis 1821, Prometheus Unbound 1820, Hellas 1822, and his final unfinished work, The Triumph of Life 1822. Shelley's life was marked by a family crisis, ill health, and a backlash against his atheism, political views, and defiance of social conventions. He was expelled from Oxford on 25th March 1811 after the publication of his pamphlet, The Necessity of Atheism. He died in a boating accident in 1822 at the age of 29. Ode to the West Wind is an ode written by P.B. Shelley in 1819 in Caskin Wood near Florence, Italy. It was originally published in 1820 by Charles in London as part of the collection Prometheus Unbound, a lyrical drama in 4 acts with other poems. Some critics believe that the poem was written in response to the loss of his son, William, born to Mary Shelley in 1819. At the time of composing this poem, Shelley also had the Peterlew Massacre of August 1819 in mind. Peterlew Massacre took place at St. Peter's Field, Manchester, Lancashire, England on Monday, 16th August 1819. 18 people died when cavalry charged into a crowd of around 60,000 people who had gathered to demand the reform of parliamentary representation. The poem consists of 5 sections, cantos, written in terza rima. Each section consists of 4 tercets, ABA, BCB, CDC, DED, and a rhyming couplet, EE. The ode is written in iambic pentameter. The poem begins with 3 sections describing the wind's effects upon earth, air, and ocean. In the last 2 sections, the poet speaks directly to the wind, asking for its power to lift him up and make him its companion in its wanderings. The poem ends with an optimistic note. Now take a look at the stanza first. O wild west wind, thou breath of autumn's being, thou from whose unseen presence the leaves dead are driven, like ghosts from an enchanter fleeing. Shelley presents the wind as a harbinger or messenger of change. Thou, the word, is an archaic expression which means you. The wind is considered as the breath of autumn's being. That means the arrival of the wild west wind announces the autumn. The wind, unseen, drives the leaves. Look at this line. Thou from whose unseen presence the leaves dead are driven. It is compared to ghosts running away from a witch or wizard, like ghosts from an enchanter fleeing. Yellow and black and pale and hectic red, pestilence-stricken multitudes, O thou who chariotest to their dark wintry bed. The leaves are yellow and black, white and wild red. Pestilence, the word means any very serious infectious disease that spreads quickly and kills large numbers of people. Here the leaves are compared to the crowd of sick people. Yellow, black, and pale and hectic red are the colors of the leaves. They look like crowds of sick people who chariotest to their dark wintry bed. You carry the seeds as if you are their chariot. The wind carries the seeds as if it acts as its chariot, down to the earth where they will sleep all winter, to their dark wintry bed. The winged seeds where they lie cold and low, each like a corpse within its grave, until thine azure sister of the spring shall blow. You carry the seeds, that means the west wind carries the seeds, as if you are their chariot, as if the west wind is the chariot of the seeds, down to the earth where they will sleep all winter. They lie there, the seeds lie there, cold and humble, like dead bodies in their graves, until your blue sister, here the blue sister means thine azure sister of the spring wind is mentioned as the azure sister of the west wind. When the spring wind blows her trumpet, the seeds wake up. Look at this. The spring wind blows her trumpet and wakes up the earth. Her clarion over the dreaming earth and fill, driving sweet buds like flocks to feed in air, with living hues and odors plain and hill. Then she brings out the buds. They are like flocks of sheep. They feed in the open air. When the spring wind blows, the seeds will wake up. It brings out, the wind brings out the buds. They are like flocks of sheep. They feed in the open air. The buds are compared as flocks. Look at this, driving sweet buds like flocks to feed in air. She fills the meadows and the hills with sweet smells and beautiful colors, with living hues and odors plain and hill. Wild spirit which are moving everywhere, destroyer and preserver, hear, oh hear. Unruly west wind moving everywhere, you are both an exterminator and a savior. Please listen to me. Here the poet directly addresses the west wind. The west wind is called as destroyer and preserver. Why is it mentioned as destroyer and preserver? We know that it drives away the dead leaves. That's why it is called as destroyer. And at the same time, it preserves the seeds. The west wind takes the seeds to its wintry bed. That's why it preserves the seeds. So we can call the west wind as the destroyer and preserver.